What's going on, guys? My name's Theoatrix and welcome to my complete 1 to 99 woodcutting and forestry guide. To skip to any section of this video, there's timestamps in the description below. So what's changed with woodcutting? In 2023, Jagex introduced Forestry, a group woodcutting activity with Forestry Events and new tree mechanics. Most trees were updated to have a time before they get cut down, whereas in the past, most trees would have a 1 in 8 chance of being cut down. The timer scales with the tree level. Oak trees have a 27-second timer, and redwoods have a 4-minute and 24-second timer. The time only starts when you receive the first log, and you can continue chopping logs until the timer reaches 0. Then, when you get a log after 0, the tree gets cut down, so you can expect to AFK for longer than the tree time, since you spend time cutting the first and last logs. When cutting a tree with at least one other player, forestry events can spawn. There's 9 events, each with a unique XP rate and strategy. For example, there's one event where you pick the odd symbol out, and another where you pollinate flowers. If you're paying attention and doing events efficiently, you can boost your XP rates by at least 40%. Additionally, chopping the same tree as another person gives you up to a +10 invisible woodcutting level boost. You get +1 for every person chopping the tree up to 10. Before I continue with the guide, today's video is brought to you by Boot.Dev. Boot.Dev is an online platform where you can start your career in back-end development. You can earn XP, levels, and achievements, and you can complete quests to compete on a global leaderboard. It feels like an RPG game, and it's self-paced, so you'll never get bored. The platform teaches you back-end web development from start to finish in the Python and Go programming languages. It even gets you prepared for job interviews, and the earning potential for a back-end developer is very high, where in the USA, they earn over 100k per year on average. The program will get you to write a ton of code, since the best way to learn development is by completing projects. Boot.Dev also has a very active Discord community, and they have inbuilt AI support which will guide you through the harder challenges. It's completely free to try. There's a free demo of every course, as well as a 30-day money-back guarantee with no questions asked. So to get started, click the link in the description to get 25% off your first month, or even 25% off your first year if you choose the annual plan. Thanks to Boot.Dev for sponsoring this video. Let's go through the mechanics of woodcutting. When you cut a tree, you have a chance of getting a log every 4 game ticks, or every 2.4 seconds. The type of axe you use and your woodcutting level both affect your chances of cutting a log. On average, a rune axe is 3 times better at cutting when compared to a bronze axe. The best axe is the crystal axe, over 4 times faster than the bronze axe. It is possible to tick manipulate to have a chance of getting a log every 3 ticks, 2 ticks, or every 1.5 ticks, and the fastest woodcutting XP rate is possible with 1.5 ticking. You should always be using the best possible axe up to the dragon axe. It considerably boosts your XP rate to use a better axe. After the Song of the Elves, you can make a crystal axe, and that's 4.5% faster than the dragon axe. The crystal felling axe is the best axe for the fastest experience, although it requires crystal shards and rations. Felling axes are 2-handed axes, which can be bought off the Grand Exchange or created with an axe handle from the Forestry Rewards shop. On average, felling axes are 10% faster than regular axes. You use up foresters' rations, and you consume a ration every time you get an XP drop. Rations can be bought off the Grand Exchange, or Ironmen can make them with leaves and cooked food. With felling axes, there's also a 20% chance to not obtain a log, making it more AFK since you won't need to empty your inventory as often. With 61 woodcutting and 85 firemaking, you can use an infernal axe. These have a 33% chance of burning the log you cut, giving half of the regular firemaking experience. The woodcutting skilling outfit, the lumberjack outfit, is worth getting for both regular and Iron Man accounts. It boosts your woodcutting XP by 2.5% with the whole set, and it takes around 30 minutes to get. The outfit is obtained from Temple Trekking, where you need to find the Undead Lumberjacks event, and Jagex recently increased the likelihood of that event spawning. When you first start woodcutting, the first thing you need to worry about is your type of axe. You can buy axes from the Grand Exchange as a regular account, and Ironmen can buy axes up to steel from Bob's Axes in Lumbridge. Defeating tree spirits is a decent way to get a high level axe early on an Ironman. That's up until you reach 60 woodcutting, where you can enter the Woodcutting Guild. In there's a shop that sells axes up to Rune. To skip the slower early levels of woodcutting, there's some quests you can complete. You can complete all of these quests on the screen to go from 1 to 28 woodcutting, but some of those quests have fairly high requirements, so instead, you can just do the Monk's Friend quest to get from 1 to 14 woodcutting very quickly. Then you just need to cut 9 regular logs to get to 15 woodcutting. Then you can do the Riveting Tail quest for 2000 woodcutting XP. If you aren't into questing, you can train your woodcutting the normal way. From 1 to 15, you need to cut 161 regular trees. There's regular trees all over RuneScape, but I would suggest training behind Lumbridge Castle or on the outskirts of Varrock. If you're an Iron Man, it's not a bad idea to light or fletch the logs that you get. But if you're a main account trying to level up woodcutting the fastest, you can just drop the logs. Also, it's very important to be using the best axe possible at all times, since it dramatically increases your chop rate. Once you reach level 15, you can cut oak trees, which are the fastest experience until around level 35. With oak trees, you can partake in forestry, and to do that, you should go to world 301 to Draenor and chop the oak to the east of the bank. For regular training though, you can cut the oak trees near Varrock West Bank. At level 30 woodcutting, you do unlock willow trees, but oak trees are better experience until level 35. Going from 15 to 35 at oaks, you need to cut 534 oak logs. Once you reach level 35, you unlock teak trees, which are one of the fastest methods in the game, and that leads us into the next section, the fastest way to 99 woodcutting. On a fresh level 3 account, the fastest woodcutting method is completing the Monk's Friend quest like I mentioned earlier. Completing the other quests for XP will take longer than regular training, but if you're going for the quest cape, doing the quests is an efficient pathway. Without questing, the fastest is just regular, then oak trees, just like I explained in the low level section. But for the fastest XP at level 15, you can 2-tick oak trees. This gives over 100k XP per hour at higher levels. To do this, you need to lure 2 rats from Falador Farm all the way to the Falador City entrance. Then once they're alternating their attacks, you click the tree, then the ground, and repeat after every attack. This caps out at 111k XP per hour above 60 woodcutting with a rune axe. At that level, you have a 100% success rate when cutting oaks. Now for the fastest methods in the game. Teaks with tick manipulation. As a woodcutting training method, I personally do not recommend doing these methods over forestry or AFK woodcutting, since these methods are extremely click intensive. But if you want the fastest possible experience, this is your best bet. With teaks, there's 3 different ways you can tick manipulate. There's 3-tick, 2-tick, and 1.5-tick. I'll be explaining all 3, starting with 3-ticking. With a 3-tick action, like using herbs on tar, you can speed up your woodcutting training by 33%. You have to start the 3-tick action every 1.8 seconds, then click the tree and repeat. These are the XP rates you can expect from 3-ticking teaks. At level 35, it provides competitive XP rates, and it reaches up to 93k per hour at 99. Overall, for a 33% XP increase, it's not really worthwhile while for all of the extra clicking, and I would really suggest 2 ticking over 3 ticking. But you can 3 tick on a forestry world for high XP rates. At Prif or Soul Wars Island, you find groups of people cutting teaks, and if you 3 tick here, you can boost your XP rates because of the Forestry Events. Now 2 ticking doubles the speed at which you woodcut, since normally it's a 4 tick action. 2 tick teaks works similar to 2 tick oaks, where you need an NPC hitting you every 2 ticks. So you can get 2 4 tick mobs attacking you and have their attacks alternate. To do this method, you need to equip any short bow with no arrows equipped, and you need auto retaliate on. This allows you to retaliate and reset the ticks. The best place for this method is done in the Ape Atoll jungle by tagging 2 birds. You can use a fun weapon or a spell like Confuse or Weaken to get the aggression of the birds. Then you move them around to ensure they're attacking every 2 ticks. Overall, 2 ticking is probably easier than 3 ticking. It does require you to click every game tick, but there are less clicks when compared to 3 ticking. However, there is an easier 2 tick method. If you plant your own teak trees, you can 2 tick just by moving every time you cut. This is because the game gives you a chance of cutting 2 logs at a time. So this is essentially still 4 tick woodcutting, but you get 2 logs, making it 2 tick. So basically you click the tree, then click a tile away, then click the tree and repeat. With both of these 2 tick methods, you can get up to 215k XP per hour at high levels, and at level 35 when you unlock it, you'll already get over 70k XP per hour, which is very high for level 35. But there's an even faster method, 1.5 tick teaks. This one can also be only done on trees that you've planted with farming. Essentially, this method involves 3 ticking while doing the second 2 tick method. You do a 3 tick action, then move for a chance at 2 logs. So you have a chance at 2 logs every 3 game ticks, making it a 1.5 tick method. This is very click intensive and focus intensive, but you are rewarded with huge amounts of woodcutting XP. At level 35, you can already get close to 100k XP per hour, and at higher levels, it reaches up to 235k XP per hour, and this is the fastest woodcutting method in the game. So those were the fastest methods in the game, but there are other fast methods that I say are better than those methods, since they require less clicking but still give high XP rates. Training with forestry is an excellent way to level up while having some periods of downtime. As I mentioned, I will cover every forestry event in the second half of this video. On screen is each tier of tree with their max XP rates on a forestry world. At level 15, oak trees become the first one you can partake with in forestry, and most notably, teaks and yew trees give competitive XP rates. Here are the best locations to do forestry. For oak trees, your best bet is either Draenor Village or at Varrock West Bank. For willows, Draenor is best. For teaks, you can go near Castle Wars, to Soul Wars, or to Prif. Seer's Village is the best place for maple trees. Yews can be cut outside of the Seer's Village Church, and magic trees can be found near the Ranging Guild or Myths Guild. I'll go into more depth about forestry shortly. Since their introduction in 2017, Somerset mushrooms have provided competitive woodcutting XP rates, and before forestry, provided the fastest XP rates without tick manipulation. They're unlocked at level 65 woodcutting, and you need access to Fossil Island to chop them. The XP rates range from 55k to over 100k per hour, and there are decent AFK intervals while training here. All you need is a rake and an axe, but it's recommended to have prayer increasing items, a strong defense bonus, something to cure poison, and the best possible food. You firstly need to find the active Somerset mushroom, then you cut it down and move on to the next active mushroom as shown on this map. You'll repeat this pattern while you train here. Alright, now let's move on to the AFK woodcutting methods. If you want to train AFK, you do not want to use a forestry world, since the trees chop down more randomly. The Woodcutting Guild is an excellent area for AFK training, since you get an invisible +7 woodcutting boost, and forestry does not work in there. With the new tree despawn timers, higher level trees have longer AFK times. To view the despawn timer in action, you can install a RuneLite plugin called Tree Despawn Timer, which shows how long until the tree will chop down. A great middle ground between XP and AFK time is cutting maple trees in the Woodcutting Guild. These provide 1 minute of AFK while having a high chop rate. Yew trees let you AFK for 2 minutes, and you can expect around 30k XP per hour when you unlock them. Magic trees let you AFK for 4 minutes, and the most AFK woodcutting method in the game is unlocked at level 90, and that is redwood trees. These provide up to 80k XP per hour, and you can AFK for 4.5 minutes at a time. If I was to get 99 woodcutting again, I would do redwoods from 90 to 99 just because of how easy it is. Another decent AFK method is chopping the blisterwood tree in Darkmire. This requires the Sins of the Father quest to be able to chop it, and these trees have the old school mechanics where there's a 1 in 8 chance of stopping chopping. Depending on your RNG though, the AFK interval will sometimes only be a few seconds, but it can last over 40 seconds at a time. Blisterwood provides about 60k XP per hour at lower levels, scaling up to 80k at higher levels. But if you're above level 90, I would strongly suggest redwoods. Now let's talk about the profitable woodcutting methods. The most profitable woodcutting method in the entire game is camping forestry events. You can get over 2,500 anima bark per hour if you're using the forestry chat. The method involves hopping between forestry areas constantly to become eligible for forestry events. Then you complete the events for anima bark rewards. If you convert the bark to felling axes, it equates to over 700k GP per hour at higher woodcutting levels. Mahogany logs are expensive, so with that, you can chop mahogany logs for around 200k GP per hour. The best place to cut them is in Tybro One Eye or in Prif. They're unlocked at only 50 woodcutting, and you can expect about 140k GP per hour when you unlock them. Cutting yew and magic logs can also be profitable. They both give roughly 150k in profit per hour, although provide slow XP rates compared to the other methods. So those are all of the woodcutting methods. Now I'm going to move into the forestry section of this guide. So partaking in forestry requires 15 woodcutting to chop oak trees, and it's also available to free-to-play players. To get started, you firstly make your way to a friendly forester in either Draenor, Seer's Village, or Prif Dinas, and from them you should grab the free forestry kit. This stores items that you find while doing forestry. To actually start forestry, you just start cutting a tree that has multiple people chopping it. To find other people, you should go to one of the official forestry worlds. The most popular one at all times is World 444. As a free-to-play player, you should go to World 301, and forestry does not work in the Woodcutting Guild nor with blisterwood trees. On those forestry worlds, there are certain locations that are populated with people. To find those locations, I listed them all in the fast methods section of this video. There's a number of RuneLite plugins that you can install to make chopping easier. In the default woodcutting plugin, you should turn on the notifications and highlights for all of the events. The tree despawn timer plugin can estimate how long a tree will stay up for. The tree count plugin shows how many players are chopping a tree, which is useful for getting the maximum woodcutting invisible level boost. You can get up to a +10 woodcutting boost with 10 or more people. Lastly, Entity Hider is useful for being able to see and maneuver the forestry events. So while you're chopping, forestry events spawn nearby. There are 9 different forestry events, with some events giving rare rewards. By completing a forestry event, you're rewarded with extra woodcutting XP, further boosting your XP per hour. The Rising Roots event is where roots appear on the ground nearby. In this event, you should chop the root with the green veins for the best XP and rewards. It's recommended to have Entity Hider active for this one, so you can find the green root more easily. The Flowering Bush event is where 8 bushes spawn, and only 2 of those bushes can trade pollen with each other. You have to find the 2 bushes, then repeatedly pollinate them. The bushes will change every so often, so you need to relocate the correct bushes. There's an event where you have to build a beehive, and for this, you click on the unfinished beehive and add logs to it for woodcutting and construction experience. For the Struggling Sapling event, you need to collect 3 materials and feed it to the sapling. It takes a certain combination, so for this, you should start by taking 3 from one pile to see if there's any matches, then 3 from another until you figure it out. Sometimes poachers can spawn, and for this event, you have to disarm the fox traps that they place down. For this, you get woodcutting and hunter experience. There is also the Enchantment Ritual event, which is visible by the colored shapes on the ground. For this, you have to stand on the odd one out, so one of them will not share a color or shape with any of the other markings. Sometimes friendly Ents can appear, and for this event, you have to read what they're saying and trim them accordingly. There are 4 different dialogues that the Ents can say, and on the screen is how you should trim them. When nests and pheasants appear, you must take the egg from the unguarded nest, where there's no pheasant on top of it, and then you take it to the freaky forester. The last forestry event is the Leprechaun, who you can talk to deposit your logs to the bank. From events, you get anima bark, except from the Leprechaun. The anima bark can then be spent at the Forestry Rewards shop. I'll briefly cover some of the most useful rewards. The Clothes Pouch Blueprint allows you to get the Lumberjack Outfit XP boost without wearing the outfit. Twitch's Gloves increase your chance at getting a bird's nest. The Felling Axe Handle and the Sawmill Vouchers are both very useful for Iron Man. Once you get 99 woodcutting, the Cape Pouch can be a decent upgrade as well. To finish the video, I'd like to cover free-to-play woodcutting training. On the screen right now is the fastest pathway from 1 to 99 woodcutting in free-to-play. It's a lot different to members, since free-to-play is very restricted with the type of trees that are available. The fastest method in the game for free-to-play is 2-tick oaks, which I showed earlier in this video. You can get over 100k XP per hour. Cutting willow trees with forestry while 3-ticking is another very fast method for free-to-play. You can get over 70k XP per hour doing this. Maple trees got introduced to free-to-play, and they're an excellent AFK training option. Anyways, that's my complete level 1 to 99 woodcutting and forestry guide for old school. If you learnt something today, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more old school content. Be sure to check out Boot.Dev to start your career in back-end web development. Use code Theoatrix for 25% off. Thanks for watching.